There is nothing wrong with your radio.
Do not attempt to adjust the volume.
We are controlling the broadcast.
For the next hour we will control all that you hear.
You are about to experience the knowledge and insights of the Media Mothership.
All right, welcome to Media Mothership, broadcasting out of Edge Radio Studios here in Nipaluna, Hobart, Tasmania. On this show, we explore how media can shape our understanding of the world around us. As always, we're streaming on edgeradio.org.au, YouTube and Twitch. You can message us in the studio on 048888 11707 or on the YouTube or Twitch chat. I'm confident those are working. I'm your host, as always, Craig, joined today by a guy who lives and breathes wrestling these days, Marcus.
Current hyperfixation. How we going, Craig?
Very good. So we're going to talk about all things pro wrestling. And, of course, as you were launching into the studio, the wrestling world has really been buzzing lately with some major matches and a lot of backstage chatter, including, I guess, the big question around the future of the business and the biggest talking point, John Cena's last match and what it means for WWE.
Oh, boy.
You want to just jump into the deep end and start unpacking? I did collect a couple of little YouTube shorts and of course, you know, full of some really interesting things. So, well, let me lead you into it then. Question one, first reactions. So when you watched the John Cena last match, what was your immediate takeaway? What did you immediately emotionally experience as a fan?
As a fan?
As a fan.
So I've only been a wrestling fan for just around about 2 years. So I didn't grow up watching John Cena, but he's been on his retirement tour all year, so I've gotten to know his style quite well. And it just it didn't make people feel happy.
Wow.
Was the final match, I think, is the best way to say it.
And you kind of shared that?
Yeah, I shared that. It was very much a downer ending to his career.
Well, let's play a couple of clips. So I've got two YouTube shorts that kind of are in conversation with the debate or the moment of crisis you're setting up. So let's listen to the first one.
Can we talk about John Cena? The result should have never been Cena losing, and it sure as hell should never have been him tapping. At the very least, if you wanted him to lose, let him go out. No tap. Went out on his shield. But this, like giving up, the antithesis of what he represents, that is not good. His literal motto is never give up. And you make him tap. You know what that means? That means that he succumbed. He gave up. You can have him win, and then you have Gunther beat the shit out of him afterwards and get all the heat, and then you have all his old friends come for the save. Cody comes and CM Punk comes, and then you have the big moment, and they all put their hands up, and everyone goes home happy. What's wrong with that? It's almost like this weird fixation of we know what everyone wants. Let's give them the complete opposite. No one in attendance, none of the people that paid all that money wanted to see John go out like that. They did not want to see him tap out. They did not want to see him give up. The beacon of perseverance, of hope, of standing up for yourself, of never giving up. He taps in his final appearance. What? That is a mistake. We talk about John Cena. The result should have never been...
All right, so take us through this. So this is talking about the tap out, the John Cena final match against Gunther. What went down?
So a little bit of backstory to this one. So Cena has had a bit of a mixed retirement tour. The heights were extremely high, the lows were extremely low. And he basically declared for his final match he wanted to have a tournament. I don't know if that's John Cena the person or creative had decided that. Very difficult to tell. Quick side note, John Cena has said in the past he regrets wrestling under his real name. He said that if he had the option, he would have wrestled under the pseudonym of Dick Hammerbush.
Really?
Sorry.
Do you reckon he's legit on that? Do you reckon that would have actually worked?
50%. I know that he regrets wrestling under his real name. I think
what
because
would be the problem with wrestling under your real name? What's the issue that John Cena is reflecting on there?
If you wrestle under your real name, it's very hard to draw a distinction between the character that you play and the person that you are. Because if you have someone like, The Undertaker and Mark Calloway are two very, very different people, obviously, even though, Calloway stayed in character as Undertaker for 30 years. That's clearly a character he played. Well, you contrast that with someone like Stone Cold Steve Austin, wrestled under his first name, not his actual last name, but he did change his last name legally, so people didn't mess it up anymore.
Right. So there you have a case of started with a pseudonym or a kind of adjacent brand name, but then decided, he's so well known as Steve Austin.
Yeah.
You end up changing your name into the moniker.
Because he actually changed his name twice. Because he was born Stephen Anderson, changed his name to be Steve Williams because his stepdad had the surname Williams, and he thought that's my actual dad who's raised me.
Yeah.
And then there was another Steve Williams when he started, so he had to go with a pseudonym.
Steve Austin.
Yes.
And then changed it the third time to be
Yeah.
the wrestling identity name.
Yes.
So with John Cena, he would have known that, right? I mean, you would have thought, he went into this career with somewhat eyes.
Yeah, and he was a fan of wrestling growing up, and I think originally he was the prototype John Cena, but there was
Do many people wrestle under their name, their real name?
I
Or is
think
John
it's-
Cena kind of an exception?
I think it's more common now than it used to. Actually, no. Generally speaking, no, because there's a solid 4 or so different major promotions people will go between, not even counting the indies. So people will have different names in different promotions to set up, different appearances in different, I guess, fictional universes. But to go back to the actual discussion of Cena's retirement tour.
That's a weird aside, but we also maybe.
But yeah, the reason why I said that is because it's unclear if John Cena, the person, wanted to have the tournament to set up his final opponent, or if it was a decision by creative. But anyway, there was a 16-man tournament, and the winner was Gunther, who is a huge... So Triple H, who does the booking, is a huge fan of Gunther, because Triple H is a huge fan of early to mid-1980s National Wrestling Alliance wrestling, and Gunther's style is very old school. It is a very deliberate throwback to that.
Okay.
Simple, not flashy, lots of chops, which are slaps to the chest, power bombs, sleeper holds, and his sleeper hold is his finisher. And so there was a lot of that used in the match with Cena. And the reason it was so controversial is because the guy who says never give up tried so many times to the sequence with the sleeper hold at the end went for at least 5 minutes, and there were so many moments where he seemed to have broken the sleeper hold, and
John
then
Cena.
Cena seemed to have broken Gunther's sleeper hold, and then Gunther locked it back in.
So what are you thinking at those points? As he's getting out, you're thinking, okay, they're setting something up. This is taking a long time.
Yeah, and he basically he goes out like Obi-Wan Kenobi. He looks at the camera, he smiles, and then he gently taps. Just like how when Obi-Wan's fighting Vader, Obi-Wan doesn't actually lose the fight. He throws it when he puts his sword up and lets Vader kill him.
So you're thinking this was a kind of meta knowing kind of... I mean, what's the advantage to Cena going out like that? I mean, as you're saying, there's a lot of backlash, but... What's in the pros? What's a good thing with Cena going out by tapping out?
See, and this is a brief aside, I think it should have been a submission match. I think winning by pinfall shouldn't have been an option. If this is what you wanted to do, it should have been you can only lose by tapping out or by verbally submitting. I reckon that would have made it more compelling.
What's at stake with a submission match?
Yeah.
You've
Because a normal match can end via count-out, disqualification, pinfall, or submission, but submission matches can only end via submission. I think that would have made it more compelling. But so people are saying it's good because people who liked it, because obviously a lot of people didn't like it, people who did like it are saying it's good because it's John Cena, the person, acknowledging that it's time to let go and that he doesn't have to fight anymore.
So it's a bit Obi-Wan Kenobi, kind of like, I'm part of the Force. I'm going Zen. I'm just letting go.
People are also saying it's good because traditionally wrestlers are expected to lose their last match because it makes the person who defeats them look even stronger. So Gunther, he retired Goldberg earlier in the year, and now he's retired John Cena. So, he's retired 2 absolute legends. Goldberg's history is a bit more controversial.
Gunther's a heel, though.
He is absolutely a heel.
Yeah, so they're really setting up an exciting... Well, they're hoping, I guess, to set up an exciting heel run here.
Yes, but here's the thing that I find really, really perplexing, and I'm going to put my fantasy booker cap on here for a moment.
And the booker, so the identity of the booker is the person that's getting the talent, helping the creative, and like Triple H?
Yeah, Triple H, head of creative, the person who decides who wins and who loses, and who's going to fight each other.
So
and
putting that hat on.
Yeah. If I was sort of my creative booker hat, I would have gone for a different wrestler instead of Gunther because Gunther's not in any programs at the moment. I would have specifically gone for Bron Breakker, who has a title match against CM Punk on the 5th of January.
Right. And of course, CM Punk has history with
Cena.
Cena.
So I would have had Bron Breakker retire Cena because Bron Breakker's in a feud with CM Punk. As you said, CM Punk has history with Cena. So if Bron Breakker is the one who beats Cena in his final match, it makes Bron look so much more dangerous when he's going against Punk in January.
Yes.
But because Gunther's not...
Anyone else sharing that you've noticed? Or
I've mentioned that to a few people and they've agreed with me. I think a lot of people wanted to see Bron Breakker in the tournament, but he wasn't, presumably to protect him so he doesn't look weak. But because Gunther is not actually in a program at the moment, it feels like there is no momentum to him. Because the following 2 nights later on Raw, Gunther comes out, everyone's booing him. He says, I did it. I made John Cena tap. He laughs at them and then he just leaves. And he has a brief run-in with AJ Styles. So is that going to be a feud next year? But it's just a strange thing to do. It's like Gunther's maybe like he's the ace you pull out when you really want to have like someone. It's like a big money match. But it felt like it should have gone to someone who in an ongoing feud right now.
Well, let's listen to another short again talking about this tap out.
I don't believe that the booker asked him to tap. I think John must have told them, I'm going to tap. Cena's not a real-life badass to an extent that I could know that he knows tapping out to a choke would be the forbidden fruit. John's not a legit tough guy. So if he was to be put in a figure 4, the tap would have been due to pain so that you don't snap my leg. That's not what happened here. He tapped in a choke. Somebody ribbed him. That's the third option. I believe John thought he was talking to a friend.
So there's a lot to unpack there. And I couldn't quite get my head around what he's saying in terms of like, he's saying there's reason why you'd tap and how it would look dramatic, right? So you tap out as if your leg's going to get broken or something. Yep. But he's saying that's not what happened here. The tap out was, and at end point as if he's talking to a friend, right? Again, that kind of contemplative facial expression at the end. Obviously confusing in terms of what's going on with that tap.
Yeah.
Very odd.
I mean, I think he's got a point. If it was something like a figure 4 leg lock or an ankle lock, if it was a submission move that is designed to cause pain in kayfabe, it would have made a lot of sense. But as he said, it's a sleeper hold. Sleepers are certainly uncomfortable, but they're not something that you tap out with from pain. You tap out so you don't, lose consciousness and die.
Yeah. So again, that idea of John Cena's branding around never give up is in opposition as that first previous YouTube short we had. And is that also part of where you're thinking this was a misstep, that in terms of how this final match was handled, it wasn't really the right way, and you would have changed it.
I would have changed, yeah. But also, the first YouTube short we listened to pointed out that, about 20,000 people paid for a ticket to see John Cena in his last match. And they weren't Gunther fans who were paying for tickets. They were John Cena fans. And look, you can't always have the good guy win. You simply cannot do that. Every wrestling show, the bad guy should win at least one match, because that sets up stuff that can set up, the Empire Strikes Back in the feud, so where you have the happy ending later on.
Yeah.
And actually, one of my friends who I watched it with said WWE fans need to be weaned off of fan service. They need to stop wanting everything to make them feel good. But at the same time, if you're paying for a ticket, you don't want to be left feeling upset. I mean, they showed the audience. People were in tears.
Wow.
People were openly sobbing when Cena lost.
Yeah.
When he tapped out. If he had actually gone down swinging, maybe they wouldn't have had that reaction. But it's because he tapped out specifically. That's the part that upset them.
And do you think this is in comparison to retirements that have worked? I mean, are there any retirements that you'd put up as a counter example, saying, "Oh, this is how you do it"?
I will put up this is the one that everyone's talking about. Everyone's talking about Sting's last match. Mm-hmm. So Sting's last match happened last year in AEW, and Sting is very different to Cena because Cena was with one company for 23 odd years, and he was almost always protected by the booking, always made to be the top dog, always made to look strong. Sting did not have that benefit because he was always very close to being the top guy in WCW. He was always the main good guy, but because of competing egos and such, frequently he would end up losing major feuds or getting lost in the shuffle. And one of the most famous examples of that is Starrcade 1997,
right,
which was the end of a 16-month feud between Sting and Hulk Hogan, who was playing the villainous Hollywood Hogan at that stage. That garnered 700,000 pay-per-view buys, the biggest buy rate of any WCW pay-per-view ever.
Yeah.
The ending was so simple. Have Sting beat up Hogan, have him win, have him put an end to Hogan's title reign after 16 months of bad behavior from Hogan, and have the crowd go home happy and have people happy they bought the pay-per-view. And they didn't do that. They had Sting get beaten up for most of the match.
Oh.
And they had and although Sting wins, it is an extremely tainted victory.
Right.
And so he ended up, the belt got forfeited a couple of days later, and they never got close to 700,000 buys again. So... and it goes back to that whole thing of you want to respect the people who are paying money for your product and give them something that, even if it doesn't leave them feeling happy, it shouldn't leave them feeling insulted. But speaking of retirements, Sting, when he went to AEW a couple of years ago, he thought he was never going to be able to wrestle again after an injury in the mid-2010s. But when he got to AEW, he went, I'm good to go. They just wanted him to help train Darby Allin, who's a young talent,
Yep.
and they were just practicing the ring. And Darby said, "Dude, you've still got it. You should just wrestle." So Darby and Sting became tag team partners, and Sting was basically the Obi-Wan Kenobi for Darby Allin. He was his mentor, and he only ever had tag matches, and they were only with Darby. And in AEW, Sting went 29-0, never lost a single match, and he won his retirement match, and he went out as a champion. And he'd actually said, "I really want to lose this match and put over the new talent." And the guys he was fighting, the Young Bucks, and also the guy in charge of AEW, they went, "After everything you've been through, nah, you are leaving here as a winner." And the crowd must have gone home exceptionally happy that night. In contrast to Cena, who really wanted to give back, but did he give back in the best way possible?
yeah.
That's up for debate.
All right. Let's listen now to Cena explaining the decision.
Cena explaining his decision, like explaining anything, is hilarious because he talks like a politician.
Let's listen.
Me understanding that there's two ways to go about it. I could never announce it and come back year after year and possibly, time's undefeated. My skill level continues to drop every year. I'm a little bit slower. I'm a little bit older. But I still have enough to, go, barely. And I think if every year that passes, that barely becomes closer to empty. And I just wanted to do something big and grand and give fans a heads up, like a 6 month ahead of time. Like, we're doing this great thing, so keep on the lookout for when we announce tickets to be there one last time. It's not for lack of a better term, it's not a wrestling retirement. I'm not going away for a few years and then coming back. When I'm done in December, I'm done. And there isn't a check writer around who could write a check big enough to change my mind. I've built a great rapport with the WWE fans. Love me or hate me, I think we have a trusting, authentic rapport. And my word isn't, there's no price to break that.
So there's talking about that idea of the physicality of wrestling, that knowing his physical limits, it just wouldn't be realistic coming back year after year wrestling. So instead to step out at this point, and that idea of a rapport with fans, that this is going to be, from that point, those 6 months of being able to set up an experience. Do you think that reached fruition, or as you're saying, it's kind of political? He's kind of dodging the question, saying this was a physical limitation.
I think he actually answered that question really well, and it makes sense. Because he's 48, so he's not particularly old, but he's old for an athlete. Because the older you get, the less able the body is able to recover. And that's what a lot of those guys who hit that age say. Because AJ Styles, who is 49, a rival of Cena's from a few years ago, they had an incredible match earlier this year at our Crown Jewel in Perth.
Right.
Which, as far as I'm concerned, that's Cena's actual last match. The 4 matches that happened after that didn't happen.
Really?
Yeah.
What was it about the Perth match in particular that you found so fitting for a
It was
capstone?
It was very compelling because AJ Styles was he was the main guy in TNA or Impact Wrestling from the early 2000s until he left in the early to mid 2010s. The main guy in the fans' hearts. He was, people will dispute that he was, but he was always near the top of the card. And so basically, when they had their rivalry in 2016, 2017, it's the main guy from TNA versus the main guy in WWE was the main thrust of it. But Cena started doing something in the last few months of his retirement tour, where he would start doing his old friends and rivals' signature moves in the middle of matches. And Cena versus Styles is brilliant because the first half of it is just a really good match, but then the second half of it, because there's a trend called quote unquote finisher kickouts, where finishers aren't used to end matches these days. They're introduced them at about the halfway point to build suspense as people are kicking out. And some people see that as lazy storytelling. But what's great about Cena versus Styles is that they are both using their old friends and rivals finishers and signature moves for the second half of the match. So it becomes this great tribute to everyone they fought in their careers.
And it's, I listened to a YouTube short that's compiled these finishing moves.
Oh boy.
And see, it's amazing the physicality, the effort to learn those so that you're not going to hurt the other person. I'm really impressed at the level of skill. Anyway, so maybe you could let me know if there's ones you want to talk about. Because a lot of these look incredible.
Every single tribute John Cena made to other wrestlers during his retirement tour. During John Cena's final match on SmackDown vs. Sami Zayn, Cena would pay tribute to one of his arch rivals, Kurt Angle, by locking in the ankle lock. He would also hit Sami Zayn with the angle slam. The history between the two is well documented, and Angle was a name that Cena...
He pulls the exact same face that Kurt Angle pulls when he's putting someone in the ankle lock.
So the entire performance embodying it.
Yeah.
Made his WWE debut against back in 2002, CM Punk. Another tribute during the match saw Cena deliver a GTS in the style of CM Punk. Punk and Cena's rivalry is iconic, and the two are considered to be pro wrestling soulmates. Kevin Owens. Now also during that same match against Sami Zayn, John Cena executed a perfect pop-up powerbomb. Kevin Owens was in attendance for Cena's final ever match, and it was great to see him on camera and also the two embrace. We can't forget that Kevin Owens made his main roster debut against John Cena on Raw. Edge. One of Cena's tributes in the Sami Zayn match caused some controversy as Cena would hit a spear to honor Edge, and Michael Cole claimed that Cena was paying tribute to Roman Reigns. Cena was quick to clarify who he was paying tribute to via an Instagram post dedicated to the...
So that's a spear, right? So the spear is kind of like you're launching yourself horizontally at the other wrestler.
Yeah, and the spear is used by plenty of wrestlers. I mean, Braun Breaker does it. Yep. Goldberg did it. Edge still does it. But Edge's is unique in that there's the sort of taunt that he does where he's, crashing out in the corner and he's waving his hands and pushing his hands through his hair before he does it. And that was the reference to Edge.
Right.
Roman Reigns doesn't do that. Roman Reigns usually, he goes to the corner, locks and loads. Oh, sorry. Punch your microphone there. He sort of loads his fist, does a Superman punch, then hits a spear, and it's very much unlike what Edge does. But that was brilliant because Edge is with another company. He's with AEW.
Yeah, right.
That's why they couldn't mention him. But Edge actually, going by his real name, Adam Copeland, the week or 2 weeks after that, he hit Cena's finishing sequence on an opponent at pay-per-view.
Right.
On pay-per-view. Did the two shoulder blocks, the proto bomb, the 5-knuckle shuffle, and the attitude adjustment. And what was brilliant is that when he held up his hand with the 5 fingers and bent over and waved his hand in front of his face, the entire arena chanted out, "You can't see me!" And Cena has never spent a day of his life in AEW.
In there. But that literacy across wrestling platforms coming through. And again, it is that kind of artificial industry. I mean, is it a kind of harsh fandom between those two entities, or is this a good example of the fact that it's a big happy thing?
It's a pretty harsh fandom. They often get into spats on Facebook and Reddit over which is the superior product. But honestly, they should just be grateful that there are two major wrestling federations in America again, as opposed to 1.5.
So getting back to the signature moves.
Clarify who he was paying tribute to via an Instagram post dedicated to the WWE legend, The Miz. John Cena's classic match versus AJ Styles at Crown Jewel saw Cena pay tribute to a countless list of names that he's wrestled over the years. Cena would hit a skull-crushing finale, obviously paying tribute to The Miz. Rusev. Cena would also honor the man he defeated for the US title in 2015. Cena would lock in the accolade, and this was a fitting tribute, as Rusev has spoken about how much he loves and admires the WWE great, Chris Jericho. The reaction when Cena locked in the walls of Jericho was nuclear. Due to Jericho being in AEW, nobody expected Cena to pay tribute to him, but Jericho was instrumental to Cena's success. In fact, he picked up his first win on a pay-per-view against Jericho back at the Vengeance 2002 pay-per-view.
So the act of Cena performing a move is also, as you're saying, where the retirement wrestler will often lose the match to help elevate others.
Yeah.
This performance that Cena's giving is also elevating other wrestlers. Like his choice consciously to incorporate their finishing move is also going to cause surprise, maybe in some cases. That's good for the other wrestler.
Yes. And people were very much going, whose move is he going to do next?
Right.
And it's just that whole thing of the member berries going, hey, you remember this match?
That is true.
Yeah.
It's a total member berry. All right, let's see where it goes, where this clip goes next.
Randy Orton. Randy Orton is synonymous with John Cena. And at Crown Jewel, he hit an RKO and elevated DDT, and he even attempted a punt kick. Triple H. Cena would attempt to pay tribute to his WrestleMania 22 opponent Triple H by delivering a pedigree. However, AJ would manage to escape from the spot at the last moment. Bray Wyatt. One of the most emotional tributes in the match saw Cena hit his sister Abigail in honor of the late great Bray Wyatt. This moment was given appropriate time to hit with fans as the Fireflies would come out and Cena looked overwhelmed with emotion. Big Show. When Cena hit a chokeslam at Crown Jewel, fans were so confused as to who he was paying tribute to. Well, it was actually the Big Show, and we know this because of the way Cena delivered the move. Big Show was another name that was crucial to Cena's success, and would defeat the legendary Giant to win his first ever title back at WrestleMania 20.
So you need a quite sophisticated literacy to unpack the semiotic of these moves. As they're saying, there are some moves like this chokehold, which at first wrestlers were confused as to who he actually is referencing. And then the idea of, well, if you see how Cena performed it and the pose he struck, it's specifically this wrestler. So you need to actually know your things or wait until a wrestling encyclopedia guy can show you the clips.
Yeah, that's why it was good that I was watching with friends, because I've got a friend who I watch the pay-per-views with, and he's been watching it since the mid-2000s. So anything I don't pick up on, he picks up on it.
Yeah. All right. So let's see the final examples.
Rey Mysterio. Cena attempting a 619 was a crazy visual, and although he didn't manage to connect with the move during his match with AJ Styles, it was a fitting tribute to a fellow GOAT, The Undertaker. Cena paid tribute to the legendary Undertaker by delivering a tombstone piledriver. This move is pretty much prohibited in WWE, but with Cena and AJ being wrestling soulmates, WWE likely authorized the spot. Now, a number of AEW stars would pay tribute to Cena on AEW television, as Samoa Joe would salute Cena whilst locking in an STF-style submission move, and perhaps Cena's greatest rival Edge would deliver Cena's iconic taunt on AEW pay-per-view, and even delivered a 5-knuckle shuffle. So
it's just saying that the competing wrestling federation also had their wrestlers or individual wrestlers were referencing that. Did you what did you think of Cena's the signature moves he was delivering? Were they successful? Did they help you engage with Cena's retirement?
Oh, I thought it was great. I thought the go to sleepy hit was better than any that CM Punk has ever hit in his life. Largely because Cena is just there was the second or the third YouTube short so that Cena's not a tough guy. He might not be tough, but he's freakishly strong.
Yes.
Like he can literally put a 150 kilo man and an 80 kilo man on his shoulders at the same time like it's nothing.
And he's played a heel as a tough heel too.
Yeah, he was a heel many years ago as the doctor of thugonomics back in the early 2000s when he initially got popular playing a white rapper character. And there was the heel character he played earlier in the year, but we don't talk about that.
Any surprises? I mean, what about any surprises in those signature moves? Any ones you weren't expecting or expecting to see that weren't made?
I was expecting to see a rock bottom or a people's elbow because his rivalry with The Rock was one of the bigger ones of the early 2010s. I wasn't expecting a tombstone pile driver.
Right.
They are, because only Taker and Kane are allowed to hit them, and they are both long retired.
So what would your take be on how that was able to be done?
It honestly reminds me of when they were filming Die Hard 4. If Bruce Willis is having a disagreement with the producers, he would say, okay, so who's your next choice to play John McClane?
Yeah, right.
It's like, are you going to tell John Cena and AJ Styles they can't do a tombstone pile driver? No, you're not.
So do you reckon this would be John Cena saying, I'm doing it?
Yeah.
It's definitely a tribute I want to pay.
Yeah.
Did you see that match? Well, I'm curious to know what the audience's reaction would have been. That would have been
The audience loved it. And what was really good about it is it was babyface versus babyface. And normally in a face versus face match, this is the reason why they're not held that often. One babyface is going to get booed. I mean, we saw it with Cody versus Cena, both of their matches, but especially the second match of SummerSlam where they were both good guys. Someone's going to get booed. No one booed AJ Styles. He just got less loud cheers. So the audience was just having the time of their lives watching that match.
Talking about babyface versus babyface or problems with one of them getting booed. Of course, as you were reminding us at the start of Cena's retirement year, he turned heel.
Yes.
Right? Looking back on that now that his final match has happened, well, how do we make sense of that?
Look, ultimately, one of the reasons why it didn't work is because they were setting up that he was like the second in command for The Rock and that The Rock was going to be the ultimate final boss, like, like a Shredder and Krang type thing. But The Rock just disappeared. He never came back.
Why was that? Yeah.
I don't know.
Scheduling conflicts for something.
Dwayne Johnson is just a bit of a weird dude when it comes to wrestling. It's like he won't acknowledge it if he's doing well, but if he's doing badly, he will immediately come back and act as though it's his favorite place in the world. Mm-hmm. He's very, what can you do for me when it comes to wrestling these days? It's like how
this could be an example of
yes.
that kind of,
He said that he didn't need to be at WrestleMania or in fact like anywhere else, but like they've been building him. They had been building The Rock as the main villain of WWE for a solid year by that point.
Yeah.
So that story just goes absolutely nowhere. And the problem with the character that Cena played is that he was 10 years too late to play him because he was playing a character who was sick of being booed.
Yeah.
But he hasn't been booed in 10 years. People have loved him ever since the United States Challenge back in sort of 2014, 2015. So yeah, it could have worked, but it didn't.
I mean, I guess, what could have been a way it worked? Do you reckon if they'd committed to it and he was a heel right up until his retirement? Or
no, that would have been the wrong decision. I do think that this is one thing a few people have mentioned is that he just randomly turns up on one SmackDown and decides he doesn't want to be evil anymore, but there's no redemption arc. Like, yes. They should have had like, a lot of people thought that R-Truth, who loves Cena because Cena is his childhood hero, even though R-Truth is 5 years older, thought that Truth would have some role in bringing Cena back to being a good guy, but he just doesn't. Or that maybe Cody was going to beat a face turn out of him like The Rock did to Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 18. But
something that's in conversation with another wrestler, which is a storyline can get set up once Cena retires. But nothing.
Just turns up one day, decides he doesn't want to be a bad guy anymore, and no one mentions all the horrible things that he did ever again. Apart from that, when he found the kid who he made fun of in Brussels and got a selfie with him and apologized to him.
Okay, that did get resolved.
Yeah.
I'd missed that. All right.
Yeah.
All right. And really there hasn't been much return to that misstep. I mean, I guess at the moment the tap out is getting all of the attention and it's kind of obscured the kind of whatever happened to the payoff.
Yeah. And just to go back to the tap out, because we discussed previously about how even if you wanted to give back to the business and make Gunther look really strong, like you've got those 20,000 people who've paid for a ticket and you want to respect their intelligence. When Triple H and the rest of the locker room came out to say goodbye to Cena, the entire audience just booed Triple H relentlessly.
Yeah, right.
They were furious with him.
Right.
For the way that he scripted that match.
So the emotion, the immediate emotion of that tap out.
Yeah.
Well, let's listen to some clips now of this ending, how the kind of narrative wrap up. So, and I know I'm just dumping these on you. You haven't seen them yet.
That's fine. That's probably better.
let's go with this one. Oh, hold on.
So did at John Cena's retirement. John Cena's retirement. John Cena's retirement was probably one of the most emotional nights in WWE history, as we said goodbye to one of the most influential wrestlers since the days of Hulk Hogan, wrapping up a 23-year-long career with WWE. Emotions were so high that several wrestlers could be seen breaking down at ringside as they saw the end of a huge career in real time. Charles Robinson was incredibly distraught at ringside as he refereed countless Cena matches. But probably the most passionate representation of the night was shown by Cody Rhodes. After John Cena laid down his signature sweatbands and removed his sneakers to leave the ring, Cody looked like he was in another world, hypnotized by the raw emotion. After John Cena bowed out and left the stage one final time as an active WWE superstar, everyone else at ringside started to head backstage. But fans noticed Jey Uso didn't do that. Instead, he saw his close friend and went to go over to console him. I may have had one too many that night, as seen when he was interviewed telling her that he left his raggedy-ass sketches in the ring, but this was still a beautiful moment and shows the close bond they have as friends, inside and out.
All right, so what's going on there with Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes? What's the set like? Can you explain the sneakers that's there? Like, what's the setup?
It's wrestling tradition that when you retire as a symbolic gesture, you leave your boots in the ring. And Cena doesn't wear boots, he wears sneakers. So he left his sneakers in his headband that he wears around his enormous bicep and tricep in the ring.
And why is that? Is there any kind of narrative behind this moment? It's just symbolically rich.
It's symbolically rich. It basically goes, because I mean, there's like wrestling boots have no purpose outside of wrestling. So if you leave them in the ring, it means I don't need these anymore. I'm done wrestling.
Right.
Whereas you know, as Jey Uso said, he left his raggedy ass sketches in the ring because John could probably still wear those. But again, it's a symbolic gesture.
So, and with that kind of, you got Cody just hypnotized. What? How do you unpack that, right? So you have the current baby face, looking, gazing. How would you explain the look that Cody has to those shoes?
Like a dude.
With your acting background.
My acting background. Geez Louise.
Was he saying, yeah, what's my motivation here?
What's my...
Seemed very blank-faced, very spaced out.
Yeah, I mean, because I believe, like, Cody often says that he was driving Cena around when he was first starting out. I think that Cena was a mentor to Cody when Cody was in his 20s.
Okay.
Because Cody's dad, Dusty Rhodes, is one of the greatest wrestlers of the 70s and 80s, baby, and opposed him becoming a wrestler. So I think Cena may have been the mentor that he didn't given him. He gave him the mentorship he didn't get from his old man.
During the live match, did they get a lot of attention? The kind of, I mean, it seems to become a meme at the moment. It's been memed a little bit. That kind of vacant-eyed expression of Cody. Did that get a lot of attention as it was wrapping up? Or?
No, I think it was broadcast after the fact. I don't remember them paying that much attention to it and the actual broadcast, but because the broadcast just ended with Cena walking off.
Okay.
But I mean, I do like that they had the moment of Jey going over and comforting him, because Jey and Cody have been in the storyline in kayfabe. They've been good friends for a while.
Right.
They were tag champs together. Jey finished Cody. Jey helped Cody finish the story. Cody helped protect Jey against Logan Paul. But the best reaction to it is Drew McIntyre, who is he's a heel who doesn't break character on social media or in interviews, and he's in an ongoing feud with Cody right now. And he posted a photo of Cody staring at the sneakers to Twitter. Said something along the lines of, "Are the cameras on me? Okay, right. Just stand there and get some footage of me for a bit." Something along those lines. I thought that was brilliant.
Which explains it as best as anything I've heard.
Yeah.
All right. So some other shorts that are doing this wrap up moment.
Actually, if we're talking about Cody, the moment where Cody and Punk come out and they lay their world heavyweight, their world belts on Cena, because Cody's got the world undisputed championship, Punk's got the world heavyweight championship, and they take a step and they let Cena stand there with the belts. It was a little bit awkward because Cena clearly didn't want it, and also he never held that version of the world heavyweight championship.
Right.
And so it's a little awkward, but it's cute. The audience gave him a cheer when he raised them up above his head, which was nice.
Here's another short that's trying to unpack that Cody Rhodes moment.
Dropped a huge tease. Rhodes just dropped a huge tease involving John Cena. After Saturday night's main event, Cody was seen at ringside, clearly emotional. However, recently, Cody posted a photo of Cena's gear lying in the ring by saying, "The first time after the last time. Stay tuned." Is Cody teasing something major with John Cena? Or could John Cena be the next big guest on Cody's podcast?
Sorry, do they set things up like this? I mean, this is conceivable that either it's him trying to get some mileage out of John Cena,
I don't know. I mean,
it's such an odd.
Yeah, it's. Cody tries a little bit too hard to be cool and profound sometimes. I wish he'd just relax a little bit more.
And so he has his own podcast. Do many current wrestlers have podcasts?
Oh, goodness, yes.
Right. Do you listen to...
Not the current ones, although I do like Sheamus, the Celtic Warrior. He doesn't have a podcast. He has a YouTube series where he will work out with other superstars and he'll do their workout routines with them. And it's always brilliant whenever he works out with the women because he is huge and built like an absolute Mack truck, but doesn't have the cardiovascular or the core strength that the women have. So they can run absolute rings around him. And he will just be struggling to keep up.
Nice to see you.
Even though he is, the pinnacle of human fitness otherwise.
All right, so this last shot I want to show, it just took me by surprise. So I didn't realize this happened, so I'm keen to hear your thoughts or how this experienced when it aired.
Did you notice Vince McMahon during John Cena's final WWE moment? Fans couldn't stop talking about what happened right after Cena tapped out to Gunther at Saturday night's main event, breaking his famous never give up motto. The stunned crowd watched as WWE legends and stars came out to honor Cena, and then things got emotional. Triple H pointed to the Tron and a tribute video began. Cena's parents, The Undertaker, Becky Lynch, Cody Rhodes, and more shared heartfelt messages. However, the biggest surprise was Vince McMahon appearing in old footage praising Cena's character. Cena smiled instantly. So, was this a quiet goodbye moment or something deeper?
Quiet goodbye moment or something deeper. Such an interesting figure. Did you? What was it like watching it live? Did that happen? Did that happen?
We were not happy that McMahon was shown in a positive light. For anyone who's unaware, Vince McMahon, who bought the then WWF off his dad back in the early 1980s, was in control for about 40 years, made it the global juggernaut that it is today, currently being investigated by the FBI for running a sex trafficking ring.
That's right.
And probably the only reason why he hasn't been convicted by now is because he's extremely good friends with Donald Trump. And to see him there was just, nah, we were very disappointed.
In that short, it says John Cena smiled and, this, how do you... what is the relationship between Cena and Vince McMahon in terms of his career? Vince McMahon was there at the start.
So basically, when Cena first got popular, like he was initially a nothing character who was going to get released probably, but then Stephanie McMahon, daughter of Vince, heard him rapping on a bus and made him the Doctor of Thugonomics, and he got really popular as this dorky white rapper. Basically Marky Mark, but for the early 2000s on SmackDown. And then because McMahon was losing a bunch of his really top-tier talent, so The Rock and Stone Cold both left around the same time. Brock Lesnar was supposed to be the next big thing, and then he left in early 2004. Goldberg left as well. And a couple of other guys are getting put on the shelf. He basically went, I need a new top guy. Cena's going to be my new top guy. And even though people liked him when he was, the scrappy underdog, Doctor of Thugonomics on SmackDown, McMahon went, I'm going to move him to Raw and he's going to become the new main hero. And people immediately rejected him. Because something we've discussed before is that Vince McMahon does not know how to write heroes. Every main hero he writes is just the same character who Terry Bollea played as Hulk Hogan. But Terry Bollea could make that kind of character compelling. Others are not so lucky. And I was actually listening to a review of Survivor Series 2005 today, and the guy who makes those reviews, Brian Zane, actually pointed out one of the reasons why Cena was condemned by the fans so quickly when he moved to Raw is because he was being dropped into feuds with longtime veterans who the fans loved watching.
Yes.
And they were being told, Cena's a good guy, these guys are the bad guys, you're going to cheer for Cena. And they did not cheer for Cena.
No.
So basically, but McMahon then protected Cena for the next 10 years and basically went, you are my golden goose. The kids love you. You're going to win all the time. Hence the meme, Cena wins LOL or Super Cena. And that's the reason why Cena has become so famous and wealthy is because of all the support he got from McMahon. So I mean, like,
so you
he can't not be grateful for everything that McMahon did to him.
Yeah.
But he, at the same time, shouldn't be speaking of him so fondly when he's being investigated by the feds.
Yeah.
Both can be true. I have people who I'm extremely grateful for opportunities they give me, but we're still mortal enemies because of falling outs and such. Same thing. Like, he shouldn't be talking about how great McMahon is or smiling when he sees him on the Titantron at a premium live event. It's a bit cooked.
Yeah. So there seemed, in terms of a hit and miss final retirement match, it has the drama, right? As we said, the tap out, the Vince McMahon, but then the tears,
I will say this:
celebration.
The match itself is good. There are a couple of sequences that went a little bit longer than they needed to. I think at one point, Cena gets knocked down by about 10 clotheslines from Gunther. We got the point after the fifth one, and the whole rigmarole with the sleeper stuff went on for way too long. But at the same time, it sells why he has to tap out.
Yeah, or does it? That's the question, right? Or does it? Does it?
Yeah. It's gotten good rankings on cagematch.net. It's got like an 8.5.
Oh, really?
8.5.
Okay, so that's good. That is good.
So the fans who are voting on cagematch.net like it. It's Thursday, isn't it? So we've got to wait another day and a half for the Wrestling Observer newsletter to come out. I'll be interested to see what Dave Meltzer thought of it. His reviews are usually pretty interesting to read. And definitely better than listen to him on radio or podcast because he stutters a lot.
Okay, so what was that source again?
The Wrestling Observer newsletter, which has been written by Dave Meltzer since the late 1970s, I believe.
So I'll put that in the show notes. So looking ahead, wrapping up, we're at the end of the show. Any dream scenarios coming around? Anything you think that's building up that you're really looking forward to with a feud or a match or a moment you're hoping is going to happen in the near future for where wrestling's getting?
We talked about that match with Bron Breakker and CM Punk happening on the 5th of January. I really hope that Bron doesn't win that one purely because the 2 days after getting the World Heavyweight Champ for the first time in an exceptionally long time, for more than 5 minutes, because he got cashed in in August, Punk cut this really great promo about how he's going to be a fighting champion and listed all these guys he wanted to fight, and he has not had a singles match since early November. I'm like, okay, and also because Bron Breakker, when he gets the World Heavyweight Championship, that should be on a big PLE like WrestleMania. So I hope that Bron doesn't win that. I hope that Punk defends the title at the Royal Rumble and at Elimination Chamber, which is in his home state of Chicago, because I was like, he's going to have to lose it to Braun at some point next year, but actually let him have title defenses first. So he looks like a strong champion when Braun gets the belt off him.
And that's happening January 5th, New Year, hopefully a good way to start 2026 in the WWE world.
Well, these guys have got really good chemistry. They've had decent matches before, so and it's like people are saying that people have actually asked CM Punk, because he's only a couple of years younger than Cena, but he looks about 10 years older. And they've said, when are you retiring? And he goes, when I want to.
So we might be doing another retirement year at some point when he wants to.
Well, the one last thing. So the big retirement for next year is going to be AJ Styles, who's Cena fought this year. AJ Styles has said, I don't want to be wrestling at 50. And I think, because he's actually said that the recovery after each match is just... it takes a lot out of him, and I think he just wants to hang out with his family some more. So his retirement tour is next year. It's not going to be anywhere near as big and flashy as Cena was, because he's not the same level of household name that Cena is. But that'll be one to watch out for, because Styles is a really good high-flying wrestler. Like, a dude of his age should not be able to jump off ring ropes the way that he does. Like an absolute lunatic.
Well, we'll bring you in to unpack Styles' retirement next year. Marcus, thank you very much. Big moment in WWE history with Cena. Final match happening and the controversy around the tap-out. Thank you for us making sense of that.
Thank you for having me, and we can't see him anymore.
That's right. Yeah, we're on radio, so we can't see him here. This will be the last episode of Media Mothership this year as well. Next Thursday, of course, is Christmas, so we'll be back shortly after that. I'll keep everyone posted on socials. Thanks for listening. This is Media Mothership for 2025, and keep listening now to some really cool tunes.